This is the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, Summer Selection.
Welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast on SelenaKnight.com. Stay ahead of the competition by opening your doors to business experts so you can learn, grow, and be inspired. Passionate about bringing business strategies to independent retailers, please welcome your host, Selena Knight.
Hey there and happy holidays! I hope you are having a fantastic holiday break. Whether you celebrate Christmas or not, I hope that you're taking a little bit of time out to rest, relax, and maybe hang out with your friends and family. And that is exactly what I am doing. I'm coming to you live from the beach house, as my friend Gina calls it. It's our holiday house / Airbnb rental on the south coast of New South Wales. And I'm recording this intro just a couple of days before Christmas. Now, of course, the beach house is so named because it is near the beach, but unfortunately, we've been here for a few days now, and every single day it has absolutely hammered down with rain. So we've just kind of been pottering around the house, playing table tennis, doing some puzzles, playing some board games, and as I look out the window right now, I see blue skies. And looking at the weather map, it's supposed to break. This horrible weather that we've been having, with very windy, very stormy, is supposed to break in about 1 or 2 hours, and it's supposed to get nice and warm, and then we are going to head down to the beach. If you are anything like me, the past couple of weeks have just been chaotic. Even in the car on the way down here, I was determined to clear my workload of anything that was pressing for the next 2 weeks. So I was answering emails, sending off proposals, working with customers, just so that when I got here, I didn't feel the need to be working on anything in particular. I knew I had to record a couple of podcast intros, but that's okay. They don't take very long, and I love sharing what's happening in my life with you guys. It's actually a little bit strange because being the beach house, we don't have all the usual things that we would have. So we've loaded up the Christmas presents, and Lana has made a washi tape tree on one of the walls, and we've just kind of piled all the presents below. But we don't have all of the grand traditions that you would normally have at Christmas. However, I have decided that there is one tradition that I cannot live without at Christmas time, and that is fruitcake or Christmas pudding. I don't usually eat them at any other time of the year because it is incredibly difficult to find gluten-free Christmas pudding or Christmas cake unless you make it yourself. But I decided 2 days out from Christmas that I need the Christmas cake. So I just ran into town and I got all the supplies. I have the fruit marinating in some brandy right now, and I'm probably not going to cook it until late tomorrow afternoon to give it kind of 2 days to macerate, and that will be Christmas Eve. So I will have this Christmas cake ready for Christmas Day. And as for the actual day, I think we're going to spend most of it at the beach, which will be a first for our family. I would love to hear about your traditions. Hit me up on Facebook or send me a DM on Instagram or pop a note on the podcast page on the website and let me know how you spend your holiday season. Now, today's episode I actually recorded with the guys Graham and Kevin from the 100 Days podcast. We had so much fun recording this episode. In fact, I started off the podcast laughing because they were having a fight before we got on air about how to spell my name. So much fun, and you can hear right throughout the episode, not only do I give you some fantastic tips on how to increase sales, I think I go through 8 really good hacks that you can use to increase sales in your retail business. But we just have so much fun, we have a laugh, and I think it is the perfect thing for you to be listening in your summer holiday period. And of course, I say summer holidays because here in Australia, it is summer. For all of you people in the Northern Hemisphere who are thinking, what the freaking heck is Selena talking about? Summer holiday season? Well, I'm sorry, but here in Australia, it is summer. So even if you are in a frosty place right now, think of us all here in the Southern Hemisphere who are about to enjoy all of that sun over the festive period. Okay, so you guys stay safe, have a happy holiday season, and I will see you on the next episode, which, believe it or not, will be the start of 2019 and also my birthday. I'll catch you then. Today's episode is sponsored by my live workshops, How to Get More Customers to Your Store on Autopilot. Whether you've got a physical store, an e-commerce store, or perhaps you have both, in order to survive and thrive, you need to be topping up your customer funnel with new customers every single day. Now that takes a lot of hard work and money, but the fact is, you can actually do this quite simply and easily and put the whole process on autopilot. Here's what Felicity had to say about the live event. Now, I'll be hosting live events in New York, Los Angeles, and San Diego in January and February. Simply head on over to selinaknight.com/New York/Los Angeles or /San Diego and reserve your spot for just $1. Now, tickets are limited because of the intimate nature of these events, so when they're gone, they're gone. So if you want to get more customers into your business on autopilot, make sure to grab your spot now.
Hello and welcome to the Next 100 Days podcast. My name is Graham Arrowsmith.
And my name's Kevin Appleby. So today, Graham, we're going to have a trip into the world of retail.
We are. We have secured the services of a certain Selina Knight. She set up a chain of stores in Australia. She is an absolute delight, and you're going to enjoy and learn an awful lot of hacks and tips as to how you can grow your retail business.
Yes, indeed. And just in case you don't get right to the end of this, right at the end, Selina talks about a course that she's got coming up next week, starting on Monday, the 7th of May. And it sounds as though that's going to be really good bit of free resource. So in the show notes, there's a link to that course that Selina's running next week.
There is. So without further ado, here is Selina Knight. Welcome, Selina Knight, to the Next 100 Days podcast.
Thanks so much for having me on, guys.
Selina, it's great to have you here. Selina, you're an expert in retail, is that correct?
Well, I think kind of a decade of experience and helping not only my own businesses grow significantly into a multi-award winning chain, but I now have helped hundreds of retailers to grow their businesses as well. So you can give me the tag expert if you like. I just like to kind of say someone who's been around and done a lot of stuff.
Right. So tell us a little bit about those businesses of your own that got you started in this area.
Well, the first business, if we go back even a step further, once upon a time, I was an arborist. So for you guys who aren't quite sure what that is, that's someone who cuts trees for a living. So I did that for about 10 years, and I sort of worked my way up from doing the actual work to becoming a contracts manager, a supervisor, contracts manager. And I always worked with a lot of guys. It's not a female dominated industry. And so I quite often got the job of dealing with the angry customers. You know, they think the woman can handle them a little bit better. And here's the thing about trees is people either love you when you cut them or they hate you and they want to stab you through the eyes with a fork. And of course, the people who want you to come and visit them are only the people who want to stab you in the eye with a fork. And so I like to say that was my baptism of fire into customer experience. And at a very young age, I was probably only 20 when I started doing that, really working on solutions to have like not necessarily a win-win because you can't glue trees back together, but kind of navigating the expectations of the customer and trying to make them understand that there's a reason that things get done and this is the outcome and this is the steps that will follow. So fast forward through there, I worked for a few government agencies, I worked for private enterprise and got to the point where I was pregnant with my first daughter, clearly passionate about sustainability. And now this was 2008. So I like to say to people, you may not remember 2008. We didn't have data on our phones then. Facebook, only brand new. You know, I was one of the first businesses on Facebook. So it's hard to think about the fact that we didn't have social media in our heads, in our faces constantly back then. But when I was pregnant with my daughter, I wanted a lot of sustainable products for children and they just didn't have them. Like, you know, online shopping was only kind of brand new back then. So I left my corporate job and I opened up a retail store focusing on these products. But even more than that, as a new parent who, I think I was like 32 at the time, so kind of old, I would have been 32. I didn't have any family and I didn't have any friends who were pregnant. So when I opened the shop, I wanted to build, I guess these days we call it a community. Didn't have a name back then. There was no buzzwords, no tribe, no collectives back then. But I just knew I wanted a place where if you came in and, you're a woman, you got cracked nipples, the people in the store could actually say, I know, I've been there, I've done that, here's something that works. And so every product in our store got tested by either myself or my team. We'd send it out for customers to review. And it just meant that when someone bought something, they bought it authentically knowing that we had made sure that it was the best thing that we thought we could find for you. And so I ended up building that store into a chain of stores. And I still remember I came into work one Friday and one of my beautiful staff, Neely, she said to me, what are you doing here? It's Friday. And the shop that we were in was across the road from the beach. She's like, can you just go to the beach or something? Because you don't need to be here. And I was like, no, I'm super, super busy. And so I went into my office and of course I played on Facebook and I ordered some stock and, called some people, bothered some customers who came in. And a couple of hours in, I realized she was right. I was literally turning up to work every single day because I didn't know what to do if I didn't have a job. This is a thing that we get stuck in busy work because we don't know what it's like to not have to work. And so I went out to her and I said, what do people actually do on a Friday if they don't work? And she took some money out of the till and she's like, go and get a coffee and walk to the other end of the beach and back. That's a good 2 hours and have a good think about it, she said. And so I did. And I, in that time, I just came to the realization that I processed myself out of my business, which is the ultimate for most business owners, to have a business that literally runs without them, that you turn up for the sake of turning up rather than because you have to turn up. But then as soon as that realization hit me, it wasn't fun anymore. Like by that afternoon, I was like, I don't know if I want to be here anymore. But then if I'm not here, what do I do? Because I've worked for the last 20 odd years, 6 days a week. So I ended up putting the stores on the market. Somebody bought them. And one of my suppliers, who's a beautiful lady, she said to me, I think you should write a book. And I was like, yes, I've always wanted to write a book. What would I write a book about? She said, I think you should write a book about opening a store. I was like, that is a perfect idea. I don't know any books about opening. I did some Googling. I couldn't find a book about how to open a retail store. And so in the process, the business was being sold, but I started writing this book. And in the end, the book became a course because I like to know how to do things, not just the thoughts about things, if that makes sense. Like if you're going to tell me I have to write an email sequence, tell me what I need to put in it. How many emails need to be there? All those kinds of things. Don't just tell me I need to write an email sequence because that's not helpful. And so I put that together, and that was kind of the beginning of where I am now. So now I work with, once the retail business was sold, I now work with retailers all over the world to help their businesses grow.
That's fantastic. And do you specialize in any particular area of retail?
Oh no, I've worked with everything from solar hot water systems through to subscription boxes, luxury horseware, homewares, e-commerce businesses, bricks and mortar businesses, something like the solar hot water, which is almost a service-based business as well as a product. So really kind of revolutionizing those kinds of industries, because it's actually really lucky if you're in one of those traditional industries because nobody is doing anything different.
No.
So all you have to do is just seek out what your customers are looking for, what would make their life easier. And if you can implement that, bang, market leader.
This is great news, and I can't wait for you to get into the retail breakthroughs that we're hopeful that you're going to share with us. Just to get some sort of clarity here, at the point that you moved into, shall we say, consulting or advising or whatever you want to call it, you built a chain, you'd sold that chain, you'd had a career in, lopping down trees and working for various other organizations. What was it that gave you the sort of confidence that you could coach others
I didn't actually go out and coach others initially. I was doing it. Look, I'm a bossy kind of person. Are we allowed to curse on this? Is this PG rated?
Yes, okay.
Well, edit it out
I'm a bit of
anyway.
a kick-ass kind of person. And so I found that, you know, I used to go walking with the yoga studio owner next door. And, you know, we would walk along and we'd talk about business, and I would be giving her all these strategies, and she'd say, "You're really good at this." I'm like, "But isn't it just common sense?" And even when I first released the course, I didn't feel confident about coaching anybody. You know, it was kind of an incentive that I gave. You know, you give people incentives to buy your product. So the first launch of the course, I gave that incentive, and you got 3 sessions with me. Looking back now, you're like, I gave that away for free. That's ridiculous. But I didn't know what I was doing, but people were getting such great success. And so it was actually my business coach who said, "You realize that you're doing the world a disservice by not actually coaching people, don't you?" And I went, what do you mean? And she said, "Well, you have all this knowledge that people want to access. And if you aren't prepared to share it for them for a fee, then you're doing them a disservice. They can't grow their businesses because they can't get access to you." And that was just like a, you know, mind-blowing moment that actually people want what you're selling, and they want to have that access. They want a shortcut.
Yeah.
You know, nobody wants to go through.
But do you
I'm
find-
always honest.
Sorry to cut across you there, Selena, but do you find that there'll be some people who just, you know that you can help, but they just don't want your help? As in there'll be some, I don't know, it's probably a Pareto thing or a fraction of a Pareto thing, that those people who come to you really want to change their businesses. They're already motivated. They're almost ready, but they're not quite sure how and what to do. And you kind of step in. They're almost pre-sold before they get to you. Or is that the case?
No, I've worked with people who still don't get it. Like this is why I like to work with people for 12 months, because something happens at 6 months. At 6 months, all of a sudden it's like a light bulb goes on, and it's like, oh, you actually know what you're talking about. You know, if I just say yes to everything that you do, everything will be fine. But if, you know, and I'm sure a lot of coaches get this, and I don't even like that word coach. I don't ever say that I coach anybody, because I'm just there to guide you. But at the beginning, it's like they almost want to fight you, because we're so ingrained and we're so protective of what we've already built. To have somebody come in and say, actually, if you did it differently, you would make more money. Something in our heads, and you know, I do the same thing. Something in our heads goes, actually, no, you were wrong. You did the wrong thing, which is not what anybody's saying at all. It's just like, if you tweak this thing, you could make more money. And I always use this example of, you know, when someone first opens a business, it doesn't matter what sort of business it is, and they go, "I'm going to turn over $1 million in 12 months. Like, that's a great goal to have. And I really, really encourage you to have goals, but let's work this out logistically. Do you actually have enough inventory to make $1 million? Do you have enough hours in your day to have enough clients to make $1 million? Do you have a marketing budget to find the people who need you? Because if you're one of these people who goes, I want, you know, give me 5 marketing tips I can do for nothing, nothing only gets you this far. You are going to need money at some point to grow your business. So if you're doing everything for free and you aren't out there actively trying to promote whatever it is you're trying to sell, and you don't have enough of it, you aren't ever going to turn over $1 million. It's just physically impossible for you to do it. And so the money thing always gets me. The people who start a business and then have no money left over for marketing. And yet, you know, statistical data from all the big business schools tell you that 80% of your time and your revenue in those first couple of years should be spent on marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think just so many businesses don't get that. Particularly, there are a lot of traditional industries that you've mentioned where the retailer's kind of a bit of a geek about his products. Things have gone on in a very traditional way for years and years and years. And people are just assuming that if they've got a great product and they turn up, they'll go buy it. That's not the case.
No. I mean,
you're the
you
one
only have
business in that market that does something different. Actually gets the marketing right. You've got a huge, huge win.
Like, look at, bookshops, video stores for all of us old people, hardware stores. There's no local hardware store anymore. Unless you live in a little village somewhere, you're likely going to have a B&Q. We have Bunnings here in Australia. You've got the big, mega barn type stores, because that's what customers want. The customers want to be able to go and get everything under one shelf, under one roof. But by the same token, people still crave service, because all the stats in the world will show you, depending, pull the numbers out of the air, but somewhere between 90 and 95% of transactions are still made in a physical store. It's only between 5 and 10% that are made online.
Mm.
So people still want it now. They still want to go and get advice. They still crave somebody being there, taking their money and being able to walk out with their goods right now.
So you've given us a great background there. And what is it that you can do for our listeners in terms of the sort of your experience in terms of retail breakthroughs? How can they think about their business and do things in a slightly different way? Have you got some tips that they might actually consider? Some people call it hacks, don't they?
Hacks. I love hacks. I can hack anything.
That's I've got to say, that's you have to be born after 1970 to understand what a hack is. But but Kevin and I have no idea what it means. But over to you.
I always thought hackers were people who got locked up in prison for doing things that were illegal, Graham.
Well, see, what they did was they got into systems to make them better. Obviously, sometimes to steal data, but they also, they make something better and work more efficiently. And I'm a lazy person. I love working, but if I can find something else to do what I was going to do, I own a lot of software. Let's just say that I have a lot of SaaS subscriptions in my life.
Yeah, got quite a few myself.
Yeah. So retail breakthroughs then, Selena.
Right. First one is, if you have a bricks and mortar store, you need to have an online presence. I don't care whether you're the hardware shop, whether you're the bookshop. In an ideal world, I would love you to be able to sell online, but I appreciate that there's a bit of it's not the easiest thing to go out and sell online, but you need to at least have a presence. You need to have a website that has your opening hours, your closing hours, some photos of what's inside your store, so people get an idea of whether you're the kind of store they're looking for. I love stores that have pictures of their staff and what they do, because when I go to those kinds of stores, I want to feel like I'm part of whatever it is they're trying to sell me. So the first thing is, I'm just going to assume that you're online in some way, shape or form, because the majority of the hacks that I like to give are ways that you can use technology to get more customers. And these don't even cost anything. The ones I'm going to give you aren't going to cost you a thing. The first one is, when you are selling products on your website, is make sure that you customize product descriptions. It is super easy to just scrape the information on the manufacturer's websites. And I actually advocate that to my clients when they're sucking products in, but I always tell them to allocate time to pull out their top 100 products. And, over this period of say 4 weeks, if there's any downtime, staff have to go in and customize those product descriptions. And I'll give you a little bit of an example. We used to have this fluffy toy in the store. It was just a little penguin. It's called Pete Penguin. I still remember. And it was the weirdest phenomenon. They were all lined up on the shelf. There were sort of 6 or 7 designs of, a dog and a cat and a penguin and a fox. But the penguin always moved around the shop. I still to this day do not know how. But Pete used to end up on different shelves, out in the storeroom, just in random places. So we actually wrote into his product description, Pete's very mischievous. From the minute we open the box to the minute he ends up in your bag at home, you may find him somewhere in the store. Yes, he's 10 centimeters tall and he's machine washable. Even machine washable, we'd say things like, and when your child spills peanut butter all over him, don't worry, Pete comes up fantastic after, a go through the washer. Just integrating that into a fun manner. Obviously, fun needs to be your brand voice, but most retail brands are quite fun. Mm. And that used to just skyrocket us to, back in the Google days, skyrocket us up. But it also meant that if people came to the website and they were looking at buying it from us, we actually always charged more for everything. So Pete his retail price was $19.99. I think we used to charge $21.99 for Pete. And we would sell loads of Pete because if you went to everybody else's website, it just said, Pete is a felt toy with polyester stuffing, 10 centimeters tall, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's like, but no one mentioned about even machine washing. So bringing these sort of fun things in, and how does it smell? How does it look? How do you use it? Because lots of things have more than one use.
So if you're a cobbler or if you're selling shoes, works just the same way.
Works just the same way. What do your clients say? Like, if you've got reviews on your website, that's like gold. Just go and mine the reviews for the words that they're using. Yeah. But what do people say when they pick your shoes up? I love the smell of the leather. It smells like hickory. I'm just making that up, but it takes me back to a time when, shoes were a quality item. All these sorts of words that just, it means that the customer can connect with the product and with your brand over Amazon, because you're fighting with Amazon.
That's a superb hack. I've seen it done in retail by some really, really good, like Land's End and various other fashion type retailers who create a story and a personality around some of their clothes and so forth. I think Orbis might be a good example as well, but basically there's a bunch of them out there that I know for some time they've used that approach and really built in that kind of personality. So a great hack. It's amazing that people just don't do it as well, Selena. So you're almost like bringing this great news to them and they'll be thinking, crikey, why didn't we think of it? But it's been out there.
It's just lazy though. It's just laziness.
Lazy, yeah.
Yeah, people say I've got 15,000 SKUs. You don't have to do it for 15,000 SKUs. Pick your top five products. And then next week, do another 5.
Yeah.
And if you've got a team of people, that's even better, because everybody is going to have their own feelings about how that product works. And someone might go, oh, I reused that candle jar for cotton buds in my bathroom. Write that in. Perfect. Because maybe somebody didn't think about that before.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it's like, wow, if I buy that candle, it will look really cute in my bathroom with cotton buds. And I feel good because I'm kind of, recycling and reusing and feeling great about sustainability. But never occurred to me. I was just going to stick it in the recycling bin.
Is it a sort of millennial thing? Because we had a couple of weeks ago, we had a guest on to talk about the millennials, and it seems to me that they are actually refreshing the way that all of us are actually consuming products. And if you want, because they're kind of very touchy-feely, I want to feel part of it and all the rest of that. Maybe slightly older people have got used to really crap customer service, and basically our expectations are low, or it started low. Along come millennials, and then we kind of dragged up to this new level. And we appreciate the kind of personality as well as them, but they love it. They kind of really
love it.
So
I actually listened to that episode, and I was nodding along because she was saying that they like to. I mean,
she's
Claire, yeah. How they really like to connect with a brand.
Yeah.
And I mean, Anthropologie I think you've got Anthropologie in the UK. Look, I don't fit into any of their clothes, but I love going to their stores and I love their emails, because I would love to be a boho woman. I would love to have, beautiful flowing hair. I've got very unruly hair. Beautiful flowing hair, riding my bike on a Saturday afternoon with the leaves coming down and the picnic in the backyard with all the lights strung up. I'd love to be that. At the end of the day, I'm not. At the end of the day, I've got to pull something out of the pile of washing. The lawn's not mowed in the backyard, but I aspire to that.
It's a podcast. She's completely lying. She's almost like a facsimile of Marilyn Monroe. Don't worry about that. Anyway, sorry. We best get you on and motor on to hack number 2.
Hack number 2. Okay, so let me just finish up with, when you're writing those product descriptions, and even if you're writing any copy on your website, think about the aspirations of your customer. I maybe we can make this number 2. Let me just harp on this a little bit. I have one of my clients who does beautiful, cruelty-free, organic, natural skincare. And so we did a little bit of digging, and you can use Facebook Audience Insights for free to get a really a lot of data. Maybe this can be hack number 2, okay? Because it allows me to continue my story. Okay, number 2 is use Facebook Audience Insights. It's a free tool that Facebook will allow you to find out so much information about your customer. There's a reason that Facebook, is in trouble. They compile a lot of data about your customers. Yeah. So if you go in there, you can check the people who like your page, and it will tell you how much they earn, how likely they are to click on an ad, how likely they are to share something, how many kids they've got, what kind of degree do they have. So you can find all this information, but the best part is it will also tell you what other pages your person likes. And so we did this for Rebecca, and we discovered that people like Pete Evans. Now, I don't know if he's big over there. In Australia, he's a paleo chef. So, he's quite good looking. He's on TV, celebrity chef, but he's all about paleo and, whole foods living and all that kind of stuff, which makes sense because she has organic products and cruelty-free status and vegan and all that kind of stuff. In fact, she was so much inspired with this information. The other person that her customers liked was Sarah Wilson from I Quit Sugar. And I don't know if you have the I Quit Sugar brand.
Yeah.
We actually changed several of her best-selling products to say sugar-free.
Right.
Sounds stupid in skincare, right? Putting sugar-free.
Oh, no.
People buy it.
Yeah. Okay.
But who would have thought about that? But the data was there. And so from that data, she wasn't, in the beginning, she was not cruelty-free. She actually had to, when we realized that there was the I Quit Sugar, there was Pete Evans, and there were several other brands that were kind of wellness, whole food brands that her customers were following on Facebook, we got a really good picture of who this person was. And we worked out that cruelty-free was clearly going to be something that was important to them. So she went through a very vigorous process to get cruelty-free status. And she even had to get her contract manufacturer to be cruelty-free certified as well to continue to make the product. So, but what it's done for her is it's now allowed her to be stocked in an enormous range of shops that are really strict. In fact, she's now stocked in one of the strictest stores in Australia, which is a huge goal for her. It was one of her goals when I first met her a couple of years ago. And now it's done. And then she's like, now I have to conquer the world.
and it started to hook you all the way back to the point. And it started through this idea of looking at Facebook Audience Insights.
Audience Insights. Yeah, it is a free tool. Yeah. You just go, so you have to have an ads camp. You have to have ads. You don't have to pay for ads. It's free, but you do actually have to have that ad manager section set up. And once you go, there's we call it the hamburger, the 3 lines at the top. So on the left-hand side, there's 3 lines. And when you click on that, a bar will come up with a whole bunch of things. And one of those is Audience Insights. And when you go in, you can choose your page and it will give you a whole bunch of data about that. But here's the sneaky thing. If you have a competitor, so if someone like Rebecca, her competitors were Aesop, Jurlique, L'Occitane, all these very expensive skincare brands. So we went into them and we saw the best thing was we saw the exact same data. It was the same person, like the same things, same kind of demographic in terms of households. But what we also took from that, and I can even give you a really great example that literally happened just last night, which was from there we took away that the majority of Rebecca's customers were mums with kids under 10. 2 kids under 10 was the generic. So in the kind of 30 to late 40 age group, 2 kids under 10. So she started changing out her email campaigns to be focusing on that person. Mm-hmm. Now she does have men, she's got older ladies, she's got younger ladies. But last night she sent out an email and her list is very modest. I think it's less than 1,000. So keeping that in perspective. And it was 5 things you actually want for Mother's Day. The thing was, it was none of her products. And she had a funny little blurb about, we don't want another toaster. Here are 5 things you can ask your family for Mother's Day, because Mother's Day in Australia comes up in 2 weeks' time. And it was, let me have a bath in peace for 20 minutes. Give me a foot rub. Let me play, give me time to play with my kids and actually enjoy it. So 5, really random, really cute things. And then at the end it said, but hey, if your family really wants to give you a pressie, here are the top 3 things that mums love. Within 20 minutes, she'd sold $500 worth of product.
Wow.
That's good.
Wow.
And that was only last night. I haven't checked in today to see how it is, but the email wasn't about the product. The email was just about identifying who was that person, which she did for free.
Yeah.
And, companies pay a lot of money for this data. You guys can go and get it for free.
Oh, indeed. Well, I speak to Cambridge Analytica. You're absolutely right. I mean, they were they've gone under this morning, I think. So
They have indeed. Yes.
So,
But
yeah.
that is a powerful tool that I just had no idea at all existed.
Oh, so I'm glad I've sneaked something in that you guys didn't know
Yeah, I
about.
didn't know about that at all.
I'm not a Facebook expert, but I've listened to enough Amy Porterfield to know about things like that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The truth is, it's a fantastic hack. I mean, those two were brilliant, and it was like 1 and 1A. So I'm a Yorkshireman, Scottish ancestry. So I'm always
He's after value for money. Put it that way.
He does want that. Okay. The next one I'm going to give you, again, we're going back into Techland, is simply the fact that, you know how when you order something and you put your card details in and you press pay, and then the page comes up that says, hey, thank you for your order. And you are like super excited because you can't wait for this thing to turn up. How sucky is, hey, thanks for your order? Imagine if that said, dude, you are so cool for buying this thing. You know what? I think you might like this other thing as well.
Yeah.
Because studies have proven that people have an emotional, dopamine? Is that the good thing in your brain? Endorphins?
Yeah.
They go up once you hit that confirm button. So you are in your peak purchasing moment, those split seconds after you've pressed pay. So you are doing yourself a disservice by not doing something on that post-purchase page. If you feel a little bit slimy trying to sell them something else, get them to follow you on Facebook. Get them to make sure they're on your email list. Hey, just double confirming that you want to hear from us again. Show them a review. Just show them a testimonial or a picture of your staff, like something just to get them engaged that, hey, you might want to come back here again.
Yeah.
We used to, in our emails that we sent out, okay, here's your 2B. In the emails that go out, it says, hey, you've ordered these 3 things, they'll be on their way to you in the next 24 hours. We customized those emails and it would be, hey, you are super cool for ordering these things. But just in case you forgot what you ordered, here's the list. Our team of packers is going to be as careful with your packages as a chef who chopped chili who's on his way to the bathroom, or something really random like that. So rest assured, we're going to make sure it comes to you, in a pristine condition and super quickly, something along that. But it was just a fun way, because I know people used to email us back and just go, best order confirmation email ever.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, love that.
Oh yeah, well that's going to be nicked. That's a superb one, Selena.
So you got 2 and 2B there.
Yeah, well we still haven't got to 3 though, have we? Come on. Well,
okay. 3 would be probably the biggest way that people lose money in their business. And I'm going to take this online and offline. Let's start with offline. So in a retail store, is not trying to get people to buy more. And they don't do that because they don't want to feel like a slimy used car salesman. But here's the thing. Here's another example. I'm full of examples. When I was pregnant with my daughter, first time mum, cashed up, want the best, first kid gets the best of everything.
True.
I went into you call them a nursery store. Is it what you call them? Baby shop?
Baby shop.
Yep. And I was like, what do I need? I've got my credit card in hand. What do I need? So I picked out the crib and there's like, yep, you need the mattress. You might need a pram. And that was kind of it. Then I had my baby shower and I got a set of sheets. You get baby brain. You don't necessarily think about all the things you have to have. Now I had a baby that had reflux. So literally first night home, baby throws up all through the bed. At which point I realized I only have 1 set of sheets and I have a wet crib mattress because nobody told me I needed a mattress protector. Nobody told me I needed more than 1 set of sheets. And I actually remember at that moment just thinking, damn you, it was a man, damn you, Mr. Guy in the shop. You should have told me I needed these things.
I told you I was a new parent. You should have been the one to say to me, hey, you're going to need 3 sets of sheets. You're going to need a mattress protector. And so I was actually quite angry at him. But even worse was I remember getting it's 2:00 in the morning, getting a queen size bed sheet out and putting it on the mattress, but then spending the rest of the night freaking out that there'd be too much fabric near my baby's face and it might suffocate and all this kind of stuff. So I was on edge because that guy in the shop didn't sell me what I needed. He just sold me what I asked for.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. How would you help him? Not that you necessarily want to help him, but how would you have helped him before the event to ask you the right questions so that he knew his responsibility?
Okay, so there's a bit of a saying. It's like, give them what they want, sell them what they need. So for him, one is having really good staff in your store that actually know the customer and know, you don't have to know the ins and out of every product, but hey, how bad is it when you walk into, an electronics store and you say, does this do this? And they pick up the side of the box and they read it off. And you're like, dude, I could have done that. I just want to know if it does this thing everyone tells me I need to have. Is it 5K HD? I don't know if it is, but you just tell me the answer to that. Don't read it off the side of the box.
Yeah.
So one is just really making sure that no matter who is dealing with your customers, whether it's someone in your online chat, whether it's someone in your store, if they don't know the answer, to just put their hand up and say, I'm actually not sure about that. Would you like me to go and check the answer? Or if I can't find somebody, I can give you a call back later. Because this is where being independent gives you that advantage. Because if you go to a big box store, nobody's calling you back.
Yeah. No, indeed.
It's just not going to happen.
The small guy almost certainly will. But the other thing is, the small guy probably knows his stock inside out. He's bought it, he's merchandised it, he's put it up, he understands it. The rep's been in to see him. Basically, the whole thing is kind of, he or they'll completely understand their offer. It's the connections that it struck me. It was the point that was missing. It was a sort of almost like a spider graph. So in other words, expectant mother, a new mother, what does she need? And then you almost like go off around that issue and almost like think through all the
Hey, have you got the sheets? Go for the little things first, like the little upsells. Yeah. Have you got your sheets? Have you, nobody needs a mobile, but you could say, hey, did you want a mobile?
Yeah.
No. So I didn't know what I needed. I was an expectant mum when I went shopping. And I'll give you another quick example, a real life example of one of my clients. And she owns a fashion boutique, and her average order value was $60. And it's not very good for a fashion boutique. It's pretty average. She was just really good with style. Like, you looked at her and she was just the person you wanted to be. And so, I said to her, well, maybe what we can do is just try and get people to buy one little thing extra. And so she got together and she said to, her team worked out that we're going to try and sell a pair of earrings, a $10 pair of earrings, as long as the person has their ears. This is the thing about upselling. It has to be ethical. Don't try and sell me a pair of earrings if I don't have my ears pierced. Find something else. But they made this decision that they were going to try and sell a pair of earrings with just about everything that went out. But it had to be tailored to the customer. So they had to use their knowledge of style to find the right colors, to find the right style, to look at the customer. This is what they're good at. Anyone who works in a fashion boutique, independent fashion boutique, is usually really good at this stuff. I didn't own an independent fashion boutique. But what happened was, within 4 weeks, their average order value went up to $119.
Wow.
Because what was happening is, one, people felt really important that you were saying, hey, these would look great on you, or these would look great with that scarf, or this color would go really well with your complexion, not just, do you want to buy a pair of earrings? And they were saying, do you have a belt to go with that? Do you have a necklace to go with that? Like, the customers were actually saying, you get me. What else can you give me to make me look good?
Yeah. I mean, later on today, I've got to stand out a town hall, which I'm a trustee of, and basically ask people to fill in questionnaires. And your point reminds me of Robert Cialdini's Persuasion book, which you may have come across. But basically, the idea of almost like putting something into somebody's mind to condition them to a greater sale. And it seems to me that your boutique owner was almost doing that. And his example, I think, was to try and get somebody's email for a new product launch, etc. And actually, by actually putting something into their mind, like, do you consider yourself adventurous, as opposed to saying nothing, effectively precondition them to say, well, yeah, I kind of do. So the results skyrocketed because they preconditioned the person to do that. And it seems to me that your boutique owner did something similar in a sense.
But
Yeah, I have to ask you, sorry, I'm just going to jump in quickly because my marketing brain is going into overdrive. When you're doing your stand and you have to collect emails, what are you collecting the emails for?
The actual town hall, with literally new trustees of the town hall, because it's been moved from public to us as a charity. And the idea is that we would actually build up a local sort of almost like repository of people who are interested in events in the town hall, so they can actually become involved in various events, etc. And we can market research them so we can provide what they want in their town hall.
So that's very passive, isn't it, though? That's just like, if you want to be involved, give us your email.
Yeah.
But there's no what's in it for them.
Oh, absolutely. Well, what's in it for them, I guess, is that they get to help decide what's going to be scheduled within the actual town hall event program. But I guess, yes, you're right. What's the massive thing that's in it for them? Not an awful lot.
No, but you could rephrase that to something like, do you want to have a say in the events that are in the town hall, rather than do you want to keep up to date with what's happening at the town hall? One is more active, the other is more passive.
I agree completely. Absolutely. I guess it's that preconditioning their interest. They'll have just walked out after voting. Today it's a day of voting, so basically it's a polling session today. So when they come out, they'll be approached by one of several people, volunteers, to ask them to complete.
To have their say. That's what you need to say, because you've just voted.
Selena, that's fantastic advice. Perfect for today. We'll circulate that to all the volunteers. Have your say what goes on in Silsden Town Hall. Brilliant.
Now I feel like I'm involved.
You are. In fact, catch yourself a plane. You could be here before the polling closes. But no.
We're going into complicated things about persuasion and so on, but really it's a lot simpler than that, guys. It's, don't be sleazy and say, do you want to buy this? It's about having a conversation. Once
It's about helping people.
Going, you find out about what help people need. What is it that they actually want? It's not rocket science. Have a conversation with your customer.
How are we going for time? Because I can just give you like another quick.
Yeah.
We're good for about 5 more minutes.
Okay, so just another quick example of there. Going back to Rebecca with the skincare, she's got like 40 products in the range, and so she used to, lay them all out when she was doing markets and stuff, and just assume that you were giving people the ability to choose what it is that they wanted to buy. But the problem with choice is, I think stats show anything more than 6, you just don't make a choice because it's too difficult. And so, long story short, she's got beautiful skin. People used to ask her which products she used, and there were 4 main products. We put them in a pack, no discount, $120. I think it's something like $120. Sells out every week. It's Rebecca's secret selection for amazing skin. The 4 or 5 things that she uses every week to have beautiful skin. That thing sells like there's no tomorrow because she's made it easy for people to buy.
Yeah.
Nobody wants
to
think for themselves.
You have to make things easy to buy. I agree. This has been an amazing, and I know that you've got a course coming up based on your work. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, well, starting next Monday, your time, I'm doing a series of free live masterclasses, because here's the thing. People tell me that they can't grow their business, no matter what kind of business, because of 3 things: time, money, and they don't know what they don't know. So I'm doing a series of 3 live trainings, sort of busting those myths, hacking those ideas, those beliefs, to show you that actually that's not what's stopping you from growing at all. So on Monday, I'll be doing a live training, the number 1 way to get a cash injection into your store by the end of the week. I'm going to challenge you to make $1,000 in 7 days. And then I'm going to walk you through a little process that I use with my clients that can it shows you what you're avoiding and how it's costing you half your week. So I'm going to get you half of your working week back by the end of that. And then my last training is the 5 steps to scaling your retail store. And it's part of my retail breakthrough series. So if anybody wants to be notified about that, they are live. So there's Q&As there. I'll be hanging around to answer questions. But if you want to be notified about them before they go live, selinaknight.com/breakthrough, or just follow me on Facebook, because the little thing will come up. They'll be at 10 a.m. Sydney time, which I have no idea what time that is in the UK.
What time is it now?
It's just before 5 p.m.
5 p.m. and it's now just before 8 a.m. in the UK. So you can work that out then, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be early evening in the UK, aren't they?
No, they're going to be
Late night. But you know what? There's replays.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
you can just join in on the replay.
The good news is that we can follow you on the replay, and I think that's a really good idea, because anybody. But it's not just retail, is it? It's almost any business.
Yeah, look, a lot of my examples are specific to retail stores.
Sure.
And a lot of the technology, the apps and things that I show you that can really make a difference in your revenue would be specific to e-commerce platforms. But you know what? Even if you're not in retail and you just want some simple hacks, it's 20 minutes of your day. Come and listen in. If you thought, what we talked about here was useful, come and listen in. And, even if you take one thing away in that 20 minutes, then life's good.
Well, I could listen to you for at least another 20 minutes.
Selina, that's been absolutely fantastic. We'll put a link to those things in the show notes. And for anybody that might be listening in a little while's time, let's just check the date. So Monday, that is Monday, May the 7th.
7th.
Yes. So if you're listening to this in a fortnight's time, tough, you've missed it.
Actually, no. Those videos go over a space of 2 weeks. So they'll be up for 2 weeks. If you are listening in 2 weeks, click on over. You might still be able to catch the replays.
Brilliant.
But also check out selinaknight.com anyway, and you're going to find a whole load of resources and help that you can get from Selina. And presumably you have, as you said earlier, you have clients all over the place, presumably some over here in the UK.
I do. We get up early or stay up late usually because of time zones. But this is the kind of time that we tend to work, which is 8 a.m. for you and sort of 5 p.m. for me. That's like the nice time that we do tend to work. But yes, I've worked with a milliner in the UK.
Okay.
And then we've got other people who've done the course as well.
Good stuff. Well,
excellent.
Selina, we want to thank you so much for being our guest on the Next 100 Days podcast.
No problems. Thank you so much for having me, guys. It was loads of fun.
Well, Graham, you know what a hack is now, don't you?
I think we always did. But basically, no, honestly, Selina has so much in her locker in terms of her help. And, she even helped me with today's task of survey giving. And so, she's full of really good, strong advice. And some of those hacks, were really, really smart. And my guess is many retailers listening to this are probably thinking, oh, hold on a minute, we're not even doing that. So this is going to be a really valuable podcast to those people. But in addition to that, she's also offering even more advice on her course starting the 7th of May.
Yeah, and I think that's something I'm going to personally go and have a look at. Because those hacks today, so much value in them. When you think about them in retrospect, they're so obvious. But
I think the point is,
why aren't we all doing them?
Well, it's, I guess, in a way, the art of the brilliance of people like Selina is about, they recognize the things going around her and apply them in a kind of a guidance way. She didn't want to be a coach. She made that quite clear. She didn't see that really being her, but she's just there. She helps them develop their business by applying these hacks, by applying just good common sense marketing to. I love the story about changing the words of the things that they're selling to personalize and humanize their product descriptions. I mean, how many people do that? The best marketers do that. I can show you examples of mail order catalogs And let's face it, most digital marketing's come from mail order, and the techniques, etc. That's where it's been born from. But the best marketers in the world are usually mail order. You ask it, if David Ogilvy was on the call, he'd tell you exactly the same. But the point being is that she's applying those skills to retailers, and bringing those new hacks in, which effectively transform their business.
Yeah, but in some ways, some of that's obvious. And if you're a retailer and you're putting a product on your website, you scrape off the manufacturer's website all the details of the product description. Well, hang on, 15, 20 other retailers have done exactly the same. What's Google going to think of that? Google's not going to go and put you top of the queue for just putting the same on your website as everybody else. So it's plain obvious you should put something different there.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And the other thing is, I mean, Google will know effectively that people are clicking through to taking action on your site. So, that will improve your ranking. So from that point of view, what Selena is doing, and it's not just about sort of, these airy-fairy things. She talked about real average order increases, real business growth. And, it's about money in the till. And so it isn't airy-fairy. It isn't just all kind of, marketing speak. It's about business. And it's about transforming yourself from, shopkeeper to business owner to entrepreneur, if you like. And I think that is the journey that she takes you on.
Absolutely. And
Well, today, Kevin, it's been another great podcast with another Australian, and delighted to have them on, even though we've had to get up before we went to sleep.
But Graham, all our Australian guests have been really good.
They have actually, haven't they? Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we should move out there, Kevin.
Maybe we should. We get some decent weather.
Yes. However, we wouldn't be able to see our beloved football teams and except on TV, which actually might be an improvement on watching them live. But anyway, today I've been Graham Arrowsmith.
I've been Kevin Appleby. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. You can find all of the show notes over at selenaknight.com. If you found something that you heard today particularly useful, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on iTunes or Stitcher. And of course, feel free to share this episode with someone that you think could benefit by listening to it. Want more retail biz strategies? You can watch the Bringing Business to Retail TV show, where each week I'll answer a question or provide you with a simple, actionable retail biz strategy that you can implement in your business right away. If you have a question or a guest, I'd love to hear from you. Drop my team an email at podcast@selenaknight.com, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great week.